Breaking news, there's a new update for Social Security, SSDI and SSDI. An extra monthly benefit boost is going to be passed to help seniors cope with rising inflation, meaning that seniors may receive thousands of dollars extra every single year. It's been a tough year for many seniors, no doubt about that. Inflation has been surging, the stock market is falling, and a recession is looking more and more likely. According to a survey from multiple sources, nearly 90% of current retirees say that Social Security is an important source of income. So it's good to understand the upcoming changes to this program and how they can affect your retirement income. It's been a historic year for Social Security, and the changes in 2023 could be massive. Massive, folks. Lawmakers are already working together to find ways to improve Social Security. Representative Ted Dutch and Senator Mazie Hirono renewed their call for Congress to strengthen and improve the Social Security program. The SSA released its annual trustees report, which indicated that while the program remained strong in 2017, improvements should be made to ensure that full costs and benefits are payable into the foreseeable future and beyond. Representative Dutch said that the truth is Social Security doesn't add a dime to the deficit. It isn't the retirement bedrock of millions of Americans, and we should keep it that way. Now is the time for Congress, and that Congress should prepare for the future by expanding Social Security, no cuts, no retirement age increases. And last year, Representative Dutch and Senator Hirono initially introduced the Protecting Preserving Social Security Act. It would only strengthen and improve the Social Security program by restoring fairness to the bill. And now there is also another bill coming to town. It's being negotiated on in Congress. This bill aims to raise Social Security payments. It could provide senior citizens with an additional $2,400 a year. The Social Security Expansion Act was proposed by Bernie Sanders and Peter DeFazio. Now this would expand Social Security payments by $200 at most. To do so, the bill would raise Social Security taxes on Americans making over $250,000 annually. Now, according to the congressman, once the bill passed, someone who qualifies for Social Security next year could see $200 more per month in payments that they would otherwise have received. CNBC reports that the protecting Social Security is high priority for voters, and a survey by Social Security Works and Data for Progress found 64% of people are very concerned the program will run out of funding to continue paying benefits to future generations. The SSA said last month that the program may only be payable to 80% of its benefits by 2035 without reform. The bill proposed by Sanders and DeFazio would raise the COLA to more accurately reflect how seniors spend their money, folks. And I definitely support this bill, and it's definitely a great idea for President Biden to do something about this.
I have a motion at the desk.
Full report.
Senator from North Dakota, Mr. Hovan, moves to commit the bill H.R. 5376 to the Committee on Finance
I ask
with
that the reading be
instructions.
waived.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, the American people are hurting. Inflation has soared to the highest we've seen in 40 years. The Consumer Price Index is now 9.1%. Americans are seeing increased prices at everything from the grocery store to the gas pump. Gas prices are up $2.25 a gallon just since the president took office. Diesel prices since this administration took office are up $2.81. That means 60% more since President Biden took office. Cost of food up more than 12%. We have not only have inflation, we have our economy stagnating as well. Stagflation, something we haven't had since the late 1970s, early 1980s. We have the resources and the capabilities to reduce that inflation, to address the stagnation. This tax and spend bill is not the way to do it. I ask that we return this to committee and come up with a plan that will actually get our economy going and reduce inflation. And I asked for support on this amendment.
Mr. President,
The Senator from Oregon.
President, I rise in opposition to this amendment. This, again, is about delay, about postponing, about putting off the job that needs to be done. What the focus of this bill is all about is cutting costs. What I've said to colleagues, my friend is President of the Senate knows this, our bill on prescription drugs kicks in this fall. We really kick in the efforts to hold down price gouging when medicine is going up fast.
Wise. So the emperor sends a couple of his advisors to go check out the weaving and see what it looks like. They see obviously nothing because there is nothing there. And they all declare, oh, it's beautiful, it's lovely, because they don't want to be seen as unwise. And then it ends up with the emperor preparing for a big parade. And that's where I pick up the story from here. Let me read you from Hans Christian Andersen from 1837. When he tries on, quote unquote, the new clothes, it says, they say to them, these scoundrels, these unsavory characters that had sold him this, they said, how well your majesty's new clothes look. Aren't they becoming? The advisors all chirped in. He heard all sides. That pattern is so perfect. Those colors so suitable. It's a magnificent outfit. Then the minister of public processions announced, your majesty's canopy is waiting outside. Well, I'm supposed to be ready, the emperor said, and turned again for one last look in the mirror. It's a remarkable fit, isn't it? As he seemed to regard his costume with the greatest interest. The noblemen who were to carry his train stooped low, reached the floor as if they were picking up his mantle. Then they pretended to lift it and hold it high. They didn't dare admit they had nothing to hold. So off went the emperor in his procession under the splendid canopy. Everyone in the streets and the windows said, oh, how fine are the emperor's new clothes. Don't they fit him to perfection? And see his long train. Nobody would confess that he couldn't see anything, for that would prove he was either unfit for his position or a fool. No costume the emperor had worn before ever got such a complete success. But he hasn't got anything on, a little child said. Did you ever hear such innocent prattle, said his father. And one person whispered to another what the child had said. He hasn't anything on. A child says he hasn't anything on. Then the whole town cried out at last, but he hasn't got anything on. The emperor shivered, for he suspected they were right, but he thought this procession must go on. So he walked more proudly than ever as his noblemen held high the train that wasn't there at all. When the facts come out, it's hard sometimes to admit you're on display, that the bill actually doesn't do what the title says it's supposed to do. This time the bill is called the Inflation Reduction Act. They say it's designed to be able to lower inflation and to reduce the deficit, except now it's actually been scored and it doesn't actually reduce inflation, and deficit reduction is as invisible as the emperor's new clothes.